So there's just what's appearing to happen. There's just energy, nothing being everything. It's completely unknowable. It's totally beyond the mind. It's beyond understanding. And this is a sharing from nothing. That what looked for and what sought, when you feel like a person who is an individual who is in the body, looking out on a world, so there's life and there's my life. What's actually yearned for is there to just be life, just be energy, and for this contracted sense of separation to not be there. And so what's yearned for is already what's appearing to happen. It's very simple, it's very ordinary. The sense of being a separate person is impossible to describe really, but it's, you could say it's a there's a sense of living in the real, and looking at objects, things, because everything is an object to your subject. You are the subject. You are this person, and there's a continual kind of consuming of what appears to happen to keep that bubble of me safe. So to get through one end of the day to another, there's a continual risk management going on, and a scene of other as either beneficial or risky to me. And in that there's arises a sense that there's an authority that will keep me safe, that will mind me. And all of this is in the dream of me, and all that we see in the world, all that we see playing out, is fundamentally this play of the person, this play of separation, this play of apparent opposites. And what's being shared here can resonate, and that sense of there being opposites and there being a world and me can collapse, apparently collapse, because there's already not a world and you, there's just energy. So you can't go right or wrong with anything regarding this meeting, questions wise. You know, if there's something there around what's being said, by all means just inquire, ask, or you can say something in chat as well, and let's see what happens. Apparently, sorry guys, I didn't see that message. I was a bit low there. Hi Kenneth, I've lost my job and career. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Is it the same unknowing you're talking about, or it's still in duality? So when I say unknowing, I'm talking about this sense of feeling that, of living in the known, that the person has, is a lived closed loop of knowing. You know, I know that it's Sunday evening, and I know that there'll be work tomorrow, and I know how I'm going to get there, and I know the people at work, I know them. And you know, that really felt sense that it's real, and you know it. What's being suggested is that that's all an aspect of feeling like a person. There's nothing wrong or right with it, but when that sense of separation is no longer, everything is nothing and nothing is everything, and everything is, it's all new, everything is new, and it's immediately obvious that nothing is actually knowable in the way that you thought it was, because the reason it was knowable was because you felt separate to it, and it was an object to your subject. to which you could, and you could know it in that way. So you, when I say about duality, I mean it's the person that is duality. It's not that there's a person is in a thing called duality and that there's another thing called non-duality. It's that the person, the very sense of the contracted sense of being a separate person, is person is the dualism of there being a world out there and a me in here. So there's a lived reality of feeling like there's a me. It's when there's thinking, it's my thinking. Who's, of course it is. When there's sitting on the seat, I'm sitting on the seat. When there's talking now, it's me speaking. And who am I speaking to? I'm speaking to you. And this is completely goes unquestioned. That's the way it feels. It feels absolutely real. And what's being shared is that it's real and unreal. And the unreal isn't seen, it can't be seen. And it's the unreal that's it's the not no thing that's actually yearned for. We're yearning for our own absence, and we're terrified of our own absence. And it's all about just simply whatever's appearing to happen. So as regarding your comment, that's what's appearing to happen. So you never had a career, you never had a job, but in the story you had a career and you had a job, and it's all real. That's apparently falling apart is what's appearing to happen. It's just energy. There's no you in there that had a career or had a job, or and what will unfold will appear to unfold. And that's the freedom that's yearned for, is that there's just what's appearing to happen. There's just energy. It's all a story. These are the story of the person is that whole narrative of I have a job, I have this career, and I'm progressing my career. It's lovely, really. It's really endearing. Like, I'm progressing my career as I get more experience and get more professional and have more responsibility and rise up through managerial positions and developing this lovely career as I go. It's quite obvious you don't have a career and you don't have anything, actually. And this is why sometimes people have complete breakdowns when they put everything into this career and then they get to the pinnacle or they get to the so-called top, and it's very obviously empty. The whole thing is completely empty. And sometimes there can be a breakdown or a sense of complete everything falling apart, because actually that for that person, their sense of being a person was very much that identity of the role or the career or whatever. Most people have a few different things, really. Some people have one core things like that, like a job, especially if it's something important. I'm a very important person, don't you know? Hi, John.
Hi, good evening, Kenneth. I wasn't sure whether that was a little English accent you did there for the
Hmm.
person who thought they were
I.
very important. It was a bit, you know,
It was trying
Hollywood.
to be posh, but it probably came off English. Yes.
Well, yeah, of course, and me being, I felt I was being alluded to. Um,
Oh, okay.
no,
No, no, no.
my, yeah, in the same way that a job is sort of meaningless in that it gives nothing because, of course, there's no one to whom it can be given. In the
Hmm.
same way, a job, there's nothing wrong with the job either.
There's
Sometimes it's
nothing
been,
wrong or right with anything,
because you see, sometimes it's
actually.
been suggested to me that, certain jobs can sort of hold you back from some sort of realization of.
No. That wasn't it wasn't
But
said
I
here. It
realized,
didn't come
so
out of this chapter.
no, 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 no,
So
no,
so
no.
what basically it's just the difference is in thinking that you are a real person who has the job and the job is happening because of you and all of that and all that nice stuff, and just seeing that it's just a play of light, it's just a role. It's the same and it's completely different. You gone, John? Did I cut you off there dramatically or?
No, no. You you dealt me a sort of a single sentence which really didn't say very much.
Mm,
It's same, but it's different.
mm.
I mean, I realize there's nothing to be said. I,
No, but I mean, with regard to the job, there was nothing in what I said about bad or good, right? There was nothing
no, no,
about
no,
it
no,
being
no.
bad or good or someone having a
Mm,
any the job or the, as you said, someone suggested that some
mm,
jobs can hold you back from something. That's
mm,
total and utter nonsense. But there's some there's roles that people appear to be in that it seemed to in the story kind of imbue them with a bit more importance,
mm,
and that can be a little bit more addictive and seductive to the person, and
mm,
so they are the type of roles that the person may feel that their self of identity is very much wrapped up in, and their sense of a person is
mm,
wrapped up in,
mm.
more so than other kind of jobs which aren't seem to be terribly important really, which is quite funny because if you speak to people in the not very important jobs, there can be quite a sense of freedom in them, as like not
Yeah,
really caring what people think, obviously.
yeah.
Um, but then the other people in other particular roles, they can. There's a in the story. There's a sense that maybe people think that they're important because they're doing this job, and they themselves kind of feel important because they're doing the job.
Mm.
Maybe or maybe not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I completely see that.
Yeah.
I was saying this is not my case, but I mean, I was thinking about, say, for example, I've seen in a few sessions when people who work sort of in psychologists, um, they come up against the fact that they are working, that underlying their job, underlying their profession, there is this assumption of a reality, which, of course, the message here is completely contradictory.
Oh, with regard to certain professions, that this would be very confronting. Yeah, that would at their heart be that there is a separate individual whom I can help get somewhere.
Mm,
So, like you said, psychology is one of those. Psychology regards actually, psychology really regards thinking that there's no such thing as an individual as really insanity, and it's because it because it undermines their whole profession so much.
yeah,
They see it as kind of crazy, but that has kind of shifted a bit too, actually, in the last kind
yes.
of maybe decade. There's more psychologists that now have questioned the solidity of the person and free will as well. It's a kind of a thing in psychology that there's no free will possibly as well. So it's a little bit less rigid than it was.
Mm,
Um, but certainly jobs like that are jobs like psychotherapy, certain professions which inherently speak to you and say that you are. I can see that you're um, yearning for something. I can see that you have trauma. I can see that you have hurt. I can heal all of those things and bring you along somewhere. But there's huge variances as well within them. I mean, there's simply a space for someone to talk about trauma. I mean, when you speak about it like this, then the person always feels that you're being negative about these things. It's
Mm.
not positive or negative.
Mm.
Um, but this communication, I mean, is illuminating that there is no individual. There's actually nobody to help, and all of that is a story. Helping appears to happen in the story. That's just what appears to happen. Um, yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks.
Thanks. The person is invested in things. Yeah, I mean, the person is a narrative. The person is a story. The person is made up in that seemingly solid sense of who I am, of I do this, for a living. Like if you ask someone who are you, one of the first things they're going to do is either talk about their family or their job as an identity, or then the next thing is their interests or their passions, in an effort to describe who they are. And what's being shared is that really you're not anything. You're nothing being everything. And um, that character that you are is uh, has likes and dislikes and may appear to do one thing or another, but all of it is a story. And when that's obvious, it's obvious. And that's what's being shared here. That's what's being shared. It's very simple. It's very ordinary. It's the seen by nobody that there's only energy. That this sense of being a person who has a life is artificial and always has been. There's never an effort when this is shared. There's no effort from anybody, but there's nothing to know, there's nowhere to get, and it's just from nothing. And it's all a resonance. It's all an energetic resonance, and that sense of being a person can just bang appear to collapse, and does. Hi, William.
Hi, Kenneth. I kind of was thinking to myself, it sounds so attractive if the sense of a person falls away, because then there isn't ever a problem in what's happening.
Yeah.
But what I was going to ask about is really, does the person actually love having problems to deal with?
Yeah, the person is story, like the person is drama. So it's always having, you know, it's always, there's always drama for the person, you know. Everything is more complex than it can't just be simply nothing appearing to happen. Um, and like the person can't hear what's being said here at all. So the person isn't being spoken to. There's never a sense here of speaking to a bunch of however many people on Zoom, or if this was a real an actual meeting, there had never been a sense of speaking to separate people. Um, and the thing about that is, like, if there was, I mean, that separate person can't hear what's being said anyway. They can only turn it into something, and they will hear that, like you said, it sounds very attractive, and it sounds lovely, or it may not. It might just sound very boring, a load of bullshit or whatever. But if it sounds attractive, or it sounds like something they want, it's almost always um, some sort of state for the person where there's all my problems go. I think that's what
Yeah.
you said, isn't it? Like it's a place where I don't have any problems.
Well, more what I was
Um,
thinking of.
but a person's idea of it is not what's being suggested here. That's the person isn't being spoken to anyway. It's nothing to do like that's that whole energy of the person of pulling in pleasure and comfort and safety, living in this safe bubble of me, um, and then pushing away, pulling in comfort and pushing away discomfort, and also pushing away all the problems will be gone. And that's so. Then when this is shared, that's always how they'll hear this. But it's not like that. It's not like anything. It's very ordinary. It's just that there's energy, and so whatever arises or appears is it. So if it's a apparent problem, then that's what's appearing to happen. If it's discomfort, then that's what's appearing to happen. If it's pain, that's what's appearing to happen. If it's losing your job suddenly, that's what's appearing to happen. And then there's just it is like an in loveness with what's appearing to happen for no one. But it's never, it can't be what the person imagines it to be. And
No, I didn't.
that's the shocking part of it. What you're yearning for is already the case. Like what you're yearning for is just simply whatever appears to be.
Yeah, what you were talking there about the simplicity of it, I think also that's what the person wants to get away from, because it's like doesn't want something that's
Oh
ordinary because it means
yeah.
it'd be boring.
Oh, completely. Yeah, the person wants complex and difficult and hard to get, thrives on it. Make it really like think about some of these say spiritual kind of cults are you know processes or whatever. It's always levels. It's always, and that makes the more levels they are, the more attractive it is to the person, and the sense of some sense of progression towards something. That's the way the person. That's the way the person is comfortable.
Yeah,
It's like in the exact same way that the person feels it's around the next corner. It's just around the next corner. It's just what I'm yearning. It's just around when I get there, when I get this, or when I get that, and when I get it. It's never just simply just sitting down, speaking, tea. It's not. It's too boring for the person. It's like, well, it's just not. Yeah.
yeah. But the thing is, when you share this, or I know it's not shared by a person, but when you're communicating this, you're smiling, and I can feel the passion.
But they're just in love with this, with the message. Yeah, it's stunning, and it's as stunning as when it was first seen and first heard. It never gets old. It never. Everything's always new, and it's the most boundless, free, amazing realization that could be. It's not a state. It's not an experience, and it's there. That's all it is. It's just a sharing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks, William. Is listening to this message seeking? It's you could say it's seeking, but you could also just say it's just what appears to be happening. When you feel like a person, there's nobody who feels like an individual who's not seeking or cogitating or meditating on the sense that they have that there's a world out there and there's a me in here, and everyone's doing it in their unique way, but most don't verbalize it, or um, and most can't pin it down to even express it. But once there's a sense that there's an embodied sense of being in the body and a world out there, then there's a yearning and a searching, until that there's no longer a sense of being in the body, and there's just body and just whatever appears to happening. It's what I've noticed when with this communication is people kind of tend to see seeking in negative terms, kind of like as if seeking, oh, that's the individual and that's somehow bad, and it doesn't have any terms, negative or positive or anything. And if someone says to me, oh, it's amazing, this is just stunning, there's no searching for anything anymore, okay, that's fine. And then the next person says, there's just this deep, intense yearning, I'm just constantly looking at either these videos or other videos, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that or the other. It's the exact same. Both of them are the exact same as far as this is concerned. It doesn't make any difference at all. So if there's a sense of seeking, and then that's just simply what appears to be happening. And when it comes to a clear communication, what I would say is that it can resonate, and when it really resonates, there can be like almost like an addiction to it, like not wanting to listen to anything else, and not finding yourself listening to anything else, and everything else being somehow empty is probably the wrong word, but just of no interest anymore. That's quite common actually, because this is just such a unique, such a different communication compared to the continual message that comes at you that reinforces that you're a person with, you have choice, you have a life, and blah blah blah. The one that's speaking to you all the time and feeding you. It's so different to that. So not uncommon for people to, and also people just, even when people apparently fall away too, actually it can be a real just thrill of this communication. And even meetings, people assume everyone at the meeting, it's quite funny actually, people used to assume that everyone at the meeting feels like a person, and it wouldn't be the case at all. There'd be quite a number who didn't at all, but just absolutely loved this communication. But that fundamentally, that question is looking at this seeking as if seeking is somehow negative, or somehow a sign that you're still there or whatever. And this is just all the rah 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 from the person. It's very simple what's being shared here. There's just very, very ordinary. There's just energy. There's just what's appearing to happen. Thoughts appear to happen, emotions, positive, negative, whatever. Doesn't matter. Positive thoughts, negative thoughts. It's just what's appearing to happen. No, it's the same question thing really that I just said, is if there's a desire to always listen to this message, does it imply anything? Nothing has any meaning or significance, only for the person. So if there's a sense of wanting to always listen to this message, what I would say is that it's resonating there. And when it's resonating, and that's what's appearing to happen. And there you go. There's just there's a draw to it. It doesn't mean, it means absolutely nothing at all. If there was listening to this, I've seen people just completely and utterly be obsessed or intrigued or with this message, or fascinated, and can't stop listening to it, like just over and over and over. And that just plays out like it plays out. I've also seen where people hear this once or twice and bang, their sense, that's it, and they don't ever have any kind of draw to put it back on or to listen to other speakers or to anything. Nothing at all. It's amazing. And one would not be better than the other. How could it? There's nobody listening to the message, and there's nobody not listening to the message. It's just what's appearing to happen. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to know. There's just energy, which is nothing being everything. As long as someone still believes they're a person, can they fake it till they make it? Yeah, of course. You could do that, yeah. And there's loads of people who say that they're not a person and they feel that they're not a person, and that's what appears to happen. I mean, what would the purpose of that be? But I suppose it would be the sense that maybe others would then think that I have something that they don't have, maybe, or yeah, the the person is faking it till they make it anyway, I guess, as a person. It's quite interesting. A lot of people have um, this really kind of deep sense of being a fake. It's not. It's not. I'm not really authentic. Um, some famous people have quite famous people have had it, and really what it is that somewhere it was sensed that there really is no them in there doing everything. Everything is really just appearing to happen, and they probably struggled a bit with this addition of themselves to everything. It wasn't didn't feel as concrete as for other people. But that's in the exact same way that, like, people say, as I was given the example earlier of someone who, if any of these meetings, if someone said, oh, this is wonderful and da 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 da, and then this is unbelievable and I can't describe it, and you dig ding ding, and then someone says, this is torture, I'm tortured by this, I feel like a person and da da, whatever. um, when any clear communication, both of them are, there's no difference between them at all, which is amazing, really, because it's all just energy. It's all just energy. So feeling like a person and reporting that you're a person, that's what's appearing to happen. Or someone reporting that they don't feel like a person anymore, that's what's appearing to happen. One isn't more significant than the other. And if there is, like, you can only really just say what's appearing to happen for you. So it's like, well, I feel um, that's what this is, really, is a sharing from nothing. And if someone, it kind of it resonates as it resonates, and someone thinks of something, some aspect of feeling like a person. That's why I nearly always say at the beginning, Just say it. Just it's there to be said, or just ask a question. It's not that it's about there being an answer to the question. It's just it's all energetic. But what difference would it make? There is, as someone says there's already nobody there. There is already no individual. There is already no separation. There is already just energy, nothing being everything. And in that nothing being everything, there's the appearance of feeling like a person, a real separate person. But as far as this communication is concerned, there is no real person. Nobody's. That's why you'll frequently hear me say nobody's going to fall away. It's not that nothing happens, nobody falls away, because all it is a sense of that sense of being a person not being there, and then it being obvious that it never even was. It never had even started. It was always a story. Hi, Guylan. Galen, you're muted.
Sorry.
You're okay, no worries.
It's in an era of Facebook and Instagram. It's such amazing that this message is going through all the people, all the cult of the personality cult. It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
really
it's
amazing.
but for that reason, it's always going to be the unpopular one. Like, this is never going to go viral, or really,
I don't know.
It kind of has some. It's resonating much more now, but that whole world of social media and all of that is a kind of feeding for the person, and it's very interesting how that's playing out and how it's facilitated the reality of the person to be more cushioned and more for people to be more in their bubble through the algorithms. So through the algorithms, people are it's the same feeding. So the person feeds on what they want, and now the level of tolerance for what would be an opinion or a worldview or something that wouldn't fit with their worldview, the level of tolerance has gone down massively, and it's more and more people living in that everyone as a person is in their own reality anyway, but there's something about social media that has facilitated this much more, and
Yeah.
the current kind of play of how things are happening. So all of that has a huge role in it, of how polarized people are, really. The cancel culture and all of that really goes back to that as well. Is like, I believe this and that about the world, and what you're saying is so offensive to me. I think you should be completely removed from my reality. You just, so okay, free speech is nice and all that and everything, but you don't, what you're saying I don't like, so I just want you removed from the university. I want you deplatformed from YouTube and all of that. And then all of that is kind of being facilitated too. And it's really strange times we're in.
Yeah, but in another way,
Mm.
I've discovered this amazing message
Yeah,
through YouTube,
exactly. Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's now it's like from this new perspective, I would say it's like it's now it's well it's the new reality for no me. I don't know how to say that.
yeah. I know what you're
It's
saying. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's stunning.
Uh,
Like, I actually first heard this on YouTube as well.
oh, YouTube. Okay.
13 years ago it was on YouTube,
Oh,
and I'd doing about a year of different, all sorts of different things, and then I heard the Open Secret on YouTube, and it was about only about 10-minute clip, but then I watched it, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and every time I watched it was the first time I watched it. So then I knew it
yeah,
was I knew I was something in it that wasn't in all this other stuff, and there was something in it that spoke of the apparent falling away that had been whatever many months earlier. But yeah, YouTube is stunning in that way, and it's, as you say that, like what I describe, it sounds like kind of a negative thing, but it's only just an observation about social media and all of these things that are apparently
hmm
happening, but I would say that the sense of the individual, it's like it's getting more contracted, and it more, you know, the sense of individualism almost growing apparently. And but
hmm
because everything is in balance, if it does appear to grow, then the openness to there just being nobody also appears to grow. So in the
yeah,
exactly as you said, if it's like that, all of these things happen, then also YouTube, people hear this communication or whatever, and bang, and generally just energetically there's more of an openness, because everything is in totally in balance anyway.
yeah.
Within the polarization, everything is so polarized and dichotomous. It has to be just this way, it can't be any of the other way. And that's what we're seeing, and so authoritative now, and huge authoritative move to control narrative and all of that. Then and within that, it's more obvious that there's nothing even happening. Maybe.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. I used to listen the YouTube channel of Can I Be Frank?
Oh yeah, Frank.
And
Yeah.
he just wanted to understand, and I was following him, trying to understand also, and now he's
Yeah.
he's
Frank's a dear friend of mine. Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I love
okay,
Frank.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And now
no,
he's
and
speaking himself. Yeah, because
yeah, that's
it's amazing
the
to see.
that
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But that's
because
that's
he
actually, if you really follow the videos, at a certain point you can start, the questions just didn't come. They just kind of stopped coming after a while. And I remember that very well, talking to him about that, and he was quite surprised himself. He just kind of didn't really have any more questions. And but
yeah.
yeah, no, it's nice energy to it. Yeah, it's great. I'm
Anyway,
delighted to hear him
thank
talking.
you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Lovely to
Yeah,
speak to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Someone says, until you get cancelled, Kenneth. I was like, yeah, man, I would not be surprised. I don't think people have any idea actually how bad the censorship has gotten. Most people don't actually. They have no idea, and they think actually that the people who are being censored are like flat earthers. You know, they're like the earth is flat, and and we can just pull them down. That's fine to pull them down because we know the world is round, so that's grand. Yeah, the censorship thing is hilarious. Yeah, well, it's not hilarious. It just is what it is. But no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's what's appearing to happen. They're actually taking people's websites down. People don't even know that either. They're because they don't like what they're saying. They're going after the UN, are going after their domain people, and their next thing they go and their whole website's gone. And it's not too far out there stuff. It's just pretty. Yeah, it's mad. No flat Earth and no round Earth. Yeah, in a way, yeah. No Earth at all. Just the appearance of an Earth. Everything is real and unreal. So everything is real and unreal. Everything.
Hey, Kenneth.
Hi, Laura.
Yeah, but so apparently, like in the recent talks, the Kenneth character still seems to be, let's say, slightly concerned with what's going on in a way, because you mention it over and again.
I wouldn't say concerned. It's an observation that the energy of what appears to happen is it's very, very interesting. I think in
Yeah.
modern, what I would say is that in modern living memory, it's not been like this really for I would say, but maybe I'm wrong. With regard to what's appearing to happen, like whole societies have been completely and utterly closed down, um, and people are. It's what's interesting is the normalization of that now at this point. Like that would have been absolutely kind of, oh my God, people would have thought that was ridiculous, that that could never happen 2 years ago. But now it's just like, oh, it's another lockdown. Oh, it's another, this and that's happening. And people have become, and the reason it's been brought up is it's regarding that sense of the person um, feeling like a real person in their bubble. And this sense of safety is a huge aspect of it. A sense of living in safety is a really core feeling of feeling like a person, an individual person in the bubble of me, you could say. And there's an increased kind of move towards it. It's been referred to as safetyism, really, and that's what you see is. And then a feature of that then is being looking to an authority that can keep me safe. And it's that the reason it's been spoken about is just making those illuminating that sense of the separate self and
Yeah.
how that plays out in the separate self. To say, is it concerning, or that Kenneth's concerned about it, it's what I would say is that, and I've always said it and I say it every meeting, is that it's energy. What it is all energy. Everything is real and unreal, and energetically, from what's appearing to happen, it's a very interesting energy all around the apparent globe now. It's very, very interesting, and it can't be any other way.
Yeah.
That's always
That's,
at the
yeah.
heart of what is being communicated here. Is
Yeah.
everything is energetic, and there is no body, there is no separate person, and nothing can be different than it appears to be.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
But it is fascinating though, as regards. I find the censorship fascinating. I find the
Mm,
and as you see, the difficulty is everything has become politicized actually. So even these observations I'm making now, people, when they listen,
oh
they'll put
no.
me in one camp or another. What they're trying to do basically are they'll say, well, are you pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine? Are you pro-lockdown or anti-vaccine lockdown? Are you? And that's what I refer to. That's what I'm referring to is this huge polarization of the world of people. That's the whole energy of it. Um,
I feel it's a bit about a bit. It's in a way. Actually, here it is, insofar as I see it in my, let's say, friend circle. It triggers intensely, like very subtle survival mechanisms.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like so, and you cannot not be part of it. It's like
Oh
there's
yeah,
no way
there's
out.
no escaping. No,
It's
absolutely
happening.
not. Yeah.
Yes, no escape.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Very
what
intense that way.
yeah, and
Yeah.
very there's an enormous enormous fear in people. And
Yeah.
I think that some people aren't as clued in about that, maybe because again, some people are in their little bubble. They're working from home, they have this, they're being told, oh, we have to restrict your life a little bit and other people's lives again. And they're like, okay, it's not great, but that's okay. But they still have their income, they still have this, they still have that. And there's a huge cohort that are kind of a little bit not as aware of the utter um, carnage that's appearing to happen, like the
What's
complete fear
carnage?
that people are in. Carnage,
It's
the
like
just
engaging.
carnage, the mess, the car crash that's appearing to happen with
Oh.
people not seeing their children, not seeing their grandchildren,
Mm.
losing their income, whole societies being torn apart, and people living in absolute fear. I mean, maybe it's because of my role in palliative, and I see people that are afraid to leave the house that might have a year to live, but they're still afraid to leave the house and still afraid to see family. And like all
Yes.
the time I see people who are absolutely fucking terrified, like they're terrified. And then
Yeah.
it's obvious then the role that authority is having in this, in maintaining this sense of fear all the time. And
Yeah.
it would be, it's always coming back to, this is what's appearing to happen. It's what's appearing to happen. It's all energetic. It can't be any other way. And it's what way is it going to play out, is anyone's guess, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it's definitely unrecognizable from the way it was 2 years ago, you could say. And there's no sign of it kind of going back to anywhere close to it, the way it was. And that's also just what's appearing to happen.
Mm.
Yeah.
So is it like that 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 this is in a way pointing to
This
of the
communication
person
is
in it?
this is pointing to what to the scene. It's a pointer that there is no person, there is no individual, there is no bubble. So that sense of you feeling that you want to remain safe and that there's an authority that can keep you safe, and you being in a bubble, is essentially that contracted sense of separation. That's what that is.
So here
That's what's
is
being suggested. That it's very obvious, it's maybe more obvious in what's playing out, that there is no authority, there is no individual, and there's just what's appearing to happen. That another way of putting it is that everything is empty. So the narrative that is appearing, the huge narrative, and the narrative that is being wrestled over and controlled, and what all the censorship is and all of that is, it's completely a story. It's just a story.
hmm.
But it doesn't, as a person, it's not a story. This is really happening. There are really individual people, and there is all of this is being, there's a what's the difference between it being a story and being real? I mean, that's the kind of nub of what we're sharing.
Yeah.
It's not, it's seen, when that's seen, it's seen, and when it's not, it's not.
I would like to share something personal to this. So I'm not a, like, for example, here it is not that I'm so much thinking that the authority will keep me safe, but that I observe cowardness of myself. So
Yeah,
I'm following certain, let's say, regulations
yeah,
in order to let, like, the other side of the fear. You know what I mean? That's what I observe
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing about it is, on both sides, like people on both sides, there's such a polarization that people on one side are saying that you are, it's like as if they want to get the unvaccinated and put them on a fucking island and blow it up. You know, that's the solution to everything. It's just, it's nuts. And then they're building all these camps around the place in Australia and all of that. And then they're going to find people. And that's the solution. You know, it's very dichotomous. This is the only way out. And then the other crowd then are getting so angry, they're calling people sheep. You're a bunch of fucking sheep and you don't, and blah blah blah. And that's equally not helpful, because I mean, these are not sheep, these are these are our mothers and brothers, and everything is so divided down, you know what I mean, and polarized. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there you go. It's what's appearing to happen. It's what's appearing to happen, and it's going to play out like it plays out.
And even Tony, in one of his last videos, he said that, and I found that remarkable. He once introduced a talk with that the world apparently will never be the one as it has been so far.
Oh no, that's very obvious. It's never going back, and a lot of people have realized that, though.
Or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of people have. A lot of people have realized that now it's not going back. Now, however it will be, it will be. But what's at the core of it, people are being terrified, and the suggestion is the level of risk that they're at, and the narrative from the governments all around the world are completely, totally, and utterly disproportionate. So what's appearing to happen then? What is this all about? And loads of people have lots of answers to that, but then the censorship comes in, and you're getting one kind of narrative that people is being put at people. And I liked something at the very beginning of it, and it said I'd much rather have questions I can't answer than answers I can't question. And the difficulty is now we're definitely at a point where we have answers we can't question. For me, the reason it's been spoken about here is it's all energetic. It's not about, I'm very well aware, I've no desire to kind of delve into the COVID narrative and vaccines and all of that, because I mean everything is full, the internet's full of it and everything. I've nothing to add really to it. It's just observing the play of light at the moment, which is a huge surge of authority and a huge fear in people, and that what's being suggested is this is all an aspect of separation, the story of me. And that whole sense of there being an authority that will keep me safe and to which I should follow is at its core an aspect of feeling like a separate person. Hi, Anisha.
Hi, Kenneth. Yeah, you were speaking what is happening. That is it. Yeah, here in the Netherlands, they say that it's not good to. They don't say not good, but they say it's better not to meet your children. So it's very. Bring a lot of fear in
It's huge fear everywhere. Every country is the same. From the very beginning of this, it's been very, people use the words propaganda, because it is very fear and be afraid is the core narrative. Be very, very afraid. And that's what's happening. People are very afraid. Very, 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 very afraid. And then any other narrative which talks about maybe the destruction of society, the mental health, the suicides, the misdiagnoses, the list goes on and 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 on, and that narrative is being completely cut out. Nobody's allowed being talked about. It's like there's a huge censorship, there's huge authority. And even that, what I just said there now would be too much for some people. They'd find that quite a political statement. And it's amazing that is where the world is at, that it's huge. Everything is political. I realize that you can't actually say anything, because that's not that you can't say anything. Anything you say is deemed to be you're either one or the other then. And that hasn't, in living memory, I've never kind of seen, what's your Jesus, I'm not that old, but from what people say, like globally, that kind of level of polarization is a very new thing, really. It's a very energetically, it's just phenomenal. I don't think you can. It's energetically, it's stunning. And someone just asked a question: Are you worried? Or are you not worried? I mean, I'm not anything, but worry can arise. But it's certainly not about the worry that. It's not about the worry that the main authority would have me worry about. But I mean, this character is a character who has a wife and 3 kids, and thoughts arise, about my little kid wearing a mask and they can't get enough oxygen in because the government have deemed it to be necessary based on absolutely no research whatsoever that they're willing to show and stand behind. For example. But then again, you say that then, and you also sound like, oh, so are you this, are you that? But even these simple questions, these things that people have, they're being marginalized. Then if they query anything, any questions about any aspect of it, you're being pushed into a certain category, and that's the way it is. And that's what's playing out in the world. And it cannot be any other way. It's what's appearing to happen, and it's explosive in its energy, and it's yeah, who knows? Thanks, Anita.
Thanks.
I'll take one more question and I'll finish up then. Avarish, is it?
Hi,
Hey, hiya.
it's Aviraj. Hi,
Avirash.
Aviraj. Actually, I typed in that question not asking you. Actually, when you were saying like, is there vaccination? Is there no vaccination? That's when I typed in as like a addition to what you were saying. Are you
Oh, I have
concerned
you.
or not?
Okay, yeah, I have you. Yeah.
But
Oh
it's
yeah, with
so
relation to
yeah,
that, yeah. I mean, that's it. Like, I mean, it's
yeah,
interesting in
exactly. I was
our
gonna ask you.
country, people
Yeah,
had the integrity. What I can't remember which under the Constitution is the right to bodily integrity, and when it came to abortion, we hit the streets big time, and people voted overwhelmingly for, well, it's your body, you have the right to decide, and da 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 da. Then fast forward 2 years, and now anybody who's saying that well, I respect your right to get it. I respect your right to get the vaccine. I'd rather wait until I have a bit more data. They're being seen as the unwashed, and people would like them to
absolutely.
put them
Yeah.
on a fucking island and blow it up, because that's the solution. But
I mean,
even
there's
the
this
islands,
constant. Yeah.
there's so many examples of there's something wrong with this whole thing. But then because the narrative is being controlled so much,
Mm,
like for instance Gibraltar, which is the island, but all the vaccinated are on it because they have 100% vaccination, and then their hospitals are at busting point, and it was disaster. So it was a good example of how well that's not. But I mean, it's just I keep coming back to it's all in energy. It's energetic, but it would be remiss of me not to point out the absolutely incredibly authoritative, tyrannical nature of what's
yeah,
appearing to
there's
happen around the world.
there's constantly an appreciation actually
Yeah.
when there's a parent speaking of that. There's constantly an, I don't know, whatever the appreciation happens, but it also is simultaneously very apparent that it's just words, you know.
Yeah,
No,
it
it's
is
not
the
even
narrative.
words. It's
It's the
not even
story.
words.
Yeah,
It's just yeah,
yeah.
for
It's
sure.
energy. It's all
It's
energy.
very yeah. It's not even words. It's sound. You know,
Yeah, it's
it's like
sound and it's
it's
energy. Yeah,
shapes of the mouth like
yeah,
moving and
yeah. That's what life
so
is.
is it
That's
just shapes? You know, is it the
it's
tongue
just there's
hitting the top
just
of the mouth or is it, you know, so you don't, it's obviously uncertain. So yeah.
yeah. It's just there's just energy. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's there's just energy, and that's it plays out like it plays out, and nothing can be any different than it is. And that's what's the story now has become. That's the story. That's the circus that's in town and isn't leaving. You know. And there's
We,
huge energy around it. Like it's gonna play out one way or the other. It's gonna all explode, or it's gonna you know, appear to kind of limp on the way it is or whatever. But,
the ball's gonna apparently roll.
yeah.
But appreciate you, Kenneth. Lots of
Okay,
love.
thanks to everyone. Yeah, it's just such a beautiful communication. It's stunning, nothing to do with Kenneth at all, and it's just such a wonderful sharing from nothing. And thanks so much, lovely to see everyone. I put a link in where are we, for anyone who'd like to contribute. I put a link there at the top and the bottom. I just put it there again. Much appreciated. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thanks.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thanks, bye.
Mhm.